In the late 17th century, Europe stood on the edge of a historic turning point. For centuries, the Ottoman Empire had been one of the most powerful forces in the world. From the deserts of the Middle East to the plains of Eastern Europe, Ottoman armies had expanded their rule across vast territories. Their capital, Constantinople, was a center of wealth, power, and military strength. By the 1600s, the Ottomans had already conquered much of southeastern Europe, including Hungary and the Balkans. But their ambitions did not stop there. Beyond these lands stood one of the most important cities in Europe, Vienna. Located at the heart of Central Europe, Vienna was not only the capital of the Habsburg Empire, but also the gateway to the rest of the continent. If Vienna fell, the road to Germany and Western Europe would be wide open. The stage was set for one of the most dramatic confrontations in European history. The Ottoman campaign against Vienna was led by the powerful Grand Vizier Kara Mustafa Pasha. Determined to expand the empire even further into Europe, he organized one of the largest armies the Ottomans had ever assembled. Historians estimate that the Ottoman force may have included more than 150,000 soldiers, along with thousands of cavalry, artillery units, engineers, and support workers. The army marched across the Balkans and into Hungary, bringing with it an enormous logistical operation. Their goal was clear: capture Vienna and secure a decisive victory that would strengthen Ottoman dominance in Europe. By the summer of 1683, the Ottoman army reached the outskirts of Vienna. Inside the city walls were around 15,000 defenders led by Count Ernst Rudiger von Starhemberg. Although the defenders were brave and determined, they were vastly outnumbered. The future of Vienna now depended on whether help from other European powers would arrive in time. In July 1683, the siege officially began. The Ottoman army surrounded Vienna and began a relentless bombardment of the city's walls. Cannons thundered day and night, shaking the streets and buildings within the city. Ottoman engineers dug tunnels beneath the walls, attempting to plant explosives and create breaches through which soldiers could storm the defenses. Inside Vienna, conditions quickly became desperate. Food supplies began to run low, and civilians lived in constant fear as artillery shells crashed into homes and churches. Yet the defenders refused to surrender. Every breach in the wall was repaired as quickly as possible, and soldiers fought fiercely to push back Ottoman assaults. The city's survival depended on time. Every day that Vienna held out increased the chance that reinforcements from other Christian kingdoms might arrive. News of the siege spread rapidly across Europe. The fall of Vienna would be a catastrophe for the balance of power on the continent. In response, several European powers formed a coalition to defend the city. The most important leader of this alliance was King John III Sobieski of Poland. Sobieski was already famous as a skilled military commander and had long experience fighting the Ottomans. Under his leadership, a relief army was assembled, consisting of Polish, Austrian, and German forces from various states of the Holy Roman Empire. By early September 1683, this combined army had gathered north of Vienna. Their plan was bold. They would march through difficult terrain, cross the Danube River, and attack the Ottoman army from the hills surrounding the city. The fate of Vienna now depended on this daring plan. As the Allied army approached Vienna, the Ottoman forces continued their siege operations. Kara Mustafa believed victory was close. Several sections of the city walls had already been heavily damaged by explosions from Ottoman mines. However, the Grand Vizier made a critical mistake. Confident that Vienna would soon fall, he did not fully prepare for a massive external attack. Meanwhile, the Christian coalition army secretly moved into position in the hills of the Vienna woods. By September 11th, the Allied forces were ready. Their army numbered around 70,000 soldiers, far smaller than the Ottoman force, but they had the advantage of high ground and strong leadership. That night, soldiers on both sides prepared for battle. Fires burned across the camps, weapons were sharpened, and prayers were offered. Everyone knew that the next day could decide the future of Europe. On the morning of September 12, 1683, the battle began. The Allied army advanced from the hills in a coordinated attack against the Ottoman positions. Fighting erupted across a wide battlefield as infantry and cavalry clashed with Ottoman forces. Throughout the day, Intense combat continued as both sides struggled for control. The Polish king Sobieski personally led his troops, inspiring them with his presence on the battlefield. As the afternoon progressed, the Allied forces gradually pushed the Ottomans back. Then came the moment that would become legendary in military history. From the hills above Vienna, King Sobieski ordered a massive cavalry charge led by the famous Polish Winged Hussars. Nearly 18,000 cavalry riders thundered down the hillside in one of the largest cavalry charges ever recorded. The impact shattered the Ottoman lines and sent panic through their ranks. Cavalry charge broke the Ottoman defenses and turned the battle into a chaotic retreat. Ottoman soldiers fled the battlefield as Allied troops advanced into their camps.